Thank you very much for your response. So, good afternoon and welcome, a warm welcome to one and all who present over here. I am Kalpana and this is the last webinar of our series. So, thank you very much for joining the webinar. So, today's webinar is on technology for teachers. And I take great pride and pleasure in introducing today's speaker, Mr. Nadeem Khan from Nutan Kanya Junior College, Bhandara. Many of us might be known that he is one of the versatile personality of our Vidarbha. He is pursuing PhD from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad. He has completed trainer course from English and Foreign Languages University, Hyderabad on RELO US Embassy Scholarship. He is also BOS member of for textbook from Standard 6 to 12. He has worked as a master trainer for ILIS project and he is working for RA Aurangabad as academic coordinator for chess project. He is a designer of SIM Spoken English Opening Year project as well, and he was selected as a SAP on Tata Trust Tejas pilot project, and still he is working with Tejas project, and he is a course coordinator for SIM Portal English Online. One thing I would like to mention that he is also a member of Bhandara English Teachers Club and Active Teachers Maharashtra group as well. One of the most recognized association of English teacher, that is INET. So he is the treasurer of that INET Association of English Teachers and project team member, INET Connect project and INET's Teacher Research Initiative. He's worked as an online teacher on Takuma Innovation Project 2017 supported by United Nations for SDG 2030, director of startup called ProBeagle, which is a learning forum for young IT nerds. So, and one more feather in his personality, that is, he's a member of District Tiger Safe. He's very much passionate about wildlife photography and community work in Bhandara district. So really we are very happy. Besides, I would say that he's a great personality, great human being, very humble, very supportive and down to earth personality. So we all are privileged and blessed to have him with us today. Indeed, we are all in for a treat today. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mr. Nadeem Khan from Bhandara. I would like to request Mr. Nadeem Khan, sir, please start our session because we are already late. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much for joining with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kalpana ma'am. Thanks for having me on your webinar. You found it worth. And I'm very glad to see very familiar faces and names on this webinar today. So it will be like a good journey, fruitful journey with all my fellow friends. You want me to transfer the rights to you, hosting rights, because there will be people coming in. Kalpana ma'am.
सर को आप ही बोलो.
Yes, because but I need recording. That is why
Yeah, recording is on, no problem. Before signing off, you can hand over the to me. Okay.
Then it's okay.
हाँ बिल्कुल. नहीं तो आड़े सब आप रिक्वेस्ट कीजिए मैं डालने के लिए. मैं करूँगा तो.
Yes, sir. You are host now.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can now mute all and unmute me so that I proceed.
मैं अभी इसका दे दूँगा, नदीम का भी स्टार्ट होने वाला है.
Okay, you have to enable the screen sharing as well, Kalpana ma'am.
From my side,
Yes.
in my mobile there is no option for screen share.
Okay, then you transfer the rights to me, then I will manage. Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you. So let's begin our webinar. This is technology for teachers, and I have created a different slide for today's webinar. I'm not using the usual or the regular slide because there are so many changes in last couple of months. So let's proceed. The learning outcomes for this webinar are at the end of this webinar, you will be able to understand the benefits of technology and using it in the classroom. You'll understand the importance of TPAC, that is technology, pedagogy and content knowledge and its implications. You will be exploring the potential of technology in education, recognize the importance of matching learning outcomes with ICT resources, understand teachers' perspectives and how technology can help personalize instruction, explore the digital toolkit for a teacher using Bloom's digital taxonomy. Actually, that was the Bloom's taxonomy, but later it was modified in the 21st century as Bloom's digital taxonomy. And finally, you will be able to discover the need for managing data, how to do it, and how to keep information secure. So let's begin with the very first question. Can technology replace the teacher? This is the question which I get often in many presentations or talks or trainings. But right now in this situation, I would say that this question has become redundant. Now nobody is asking that will technology replace the teacher, because the latter part of the statement, like technology won't replace the teacher, but teachers who use technology will replace the teachers who don't. This has happened already. So the situation or the current situation has answered to this question very well. And now we know that importance of technology. There were many prophets of doom who were prophesying that this is not going to happen. There will be an end to use of technology. This is the overusing, bombarding of tools, and it's not worth trying in the classrooms. But the situation has made them silent. It has answered that yes, technology is very much important and it's a great tool in the hands of a tech-savvy teacher. So again, this current pandemic situation has proved that this is a knowledge economy right now. In the entire world, all sectors have seen a decline. Okay, let's see, for example, the travel and tourism sector, the manufacturing sector, the service sector. The graph is going down for every sector. Instead, there is only one sector that is booming right now, and that is the education sector. And thanks to the technology, we are booming right now. For us, data, information is the new oil, because oil has gone down minus 34 dollars per barrel. So there is no value to oil right now. When I speak this statement, when I say this statement, there is more value to the knowledge and information. So indeed, the world has recognized that this is knowledge economy and we should value the information. We have moved from the world of haves and have-nots to the world of know and know-nots. Now the people who don't know about this technology and these gizmo things, they are no more considered literate. So the world has changed, and all the questions are getting answered itself. So this is the TPAC model by renowned researchers Mishra and Kohler. They are from Michigan State University. Earlier, it is based on a old model of content and knowledge. But he brought in these two people. They brought in the use of technology along with the content knowledge and the pedagogical knowledge. We know what pedagogy is. Teaching to the students, young learners, is a pedagogy. So combined together with content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge, because a teacher already has the content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge, because they know how to deliver that content, or they know how to tackle the situation in classroom using different methods and techniques and strategies. So that's the content knowledge and pedagogical knowledge of a teacher. But when there is an addition to this content and pedagogy by the technology as a tool. So technology is a tool for pedagogy here. So it combines and makes this TPAC, we call it technological pedagogical content knowledge. So you must have realized that this is very becoming very important and primary in current situation, because entire what we can say responsibility of their schools are now being shouldered by teachers who are tech savvy, and others are learning too. So this is a very good learning stage, and I would say the learning curve that was going flat, we call it the plateau, learning plateau, has suddenly seen a spike, and there is rising number of people who want to learn all these things. These things were there since last 20 years, we can say. But now everybody has realized the importance of these skills and knowledge and technology. See what happens in our classroom. Until now, the teachers were teaching technology in a way that was very boring. I'm not generalizing for all the teachers, but a lot of teachers, like they were taking students to ICT lab once a week, maybe in the science period, and it was the privilege of a science teacher to use that computer. And some tech savvy teachers, like some language teachers, not all the teachers were using the ICT tools available in their schools. Some were using computers for printing results, printing sheets, worksheets, and some were using the ready-made materials which are prepared by one and are shared on the social media platforms, and others, they use it widely, rampantly. So, but this is not technology, and this is not the use of technology in education as expected, because whatever material is there, whatever e-learning material or digital content is there in the market, that is made one size fits all, because that is a very standardized kind of material and it is prepared for the bazaar needs. So it's a very standard material, but you have your own learners whose needs are different, and not everybody is very much comfortable with all these things. So there is one solution that a teacher should start organizing the learning using this digital content. And there are ways, like there is flipped classroom method, blended learning we call it. So instead of using this ready-made one-size-fits-all material, a teacher should should create, he should become a creator rather than a user of all these things. So there is a need to enrich and empower the students, and the importance is you can see the correlation between SDGs and ICT. SDGs are the Sustainable Development Goals. These are decided by the United Nations. There are 16 such SDGs, and quality education is the fourth Sustainable Development Goal for entire world. And all the leaders in this world are trying to meet these goals up to 2030. So SDG 2030. So there is need to exchange the ideas, the knowledge, the technology, the pedagogy, and enrich all the teachers so that finally they feel empowered and they feel that they can use this. Context can be varying, like low resource or no resource or highly resource, but teacher is the best resource. And the highest correlation between the SDGs and ICT is shown by this graph, which says 72% is the correlation between quality education and technology. So what can be done to incorporate all these things in our curriculum, in our classrooms or teaching, or for uh, for the purpose, I would say the training also, because we have seen our trainings, they were earlier face to face. Now, since last some years, the training became blended, like blend of face to face as well as technology. Now the trainings are going online. So if the training is going online, the teaching will also go online. So we have to be prepared. But big question is the digital divide. A recent survey showed that in India there is 70%, around 740 million people use internet. These are figures of 2020. So 740 million people in this country are using internet, but a recent survey in Maharashtra shows that only 20% people have the smartphones. So there is a big digital divide, and we have to bridge this digital divide and bridge this gap so that all are at one level, at equity. So while designing our teaching or training, what we can do? So we can use proper instructions, and these should be constructively directed and creative. These are three steps to bridge the digital divide as well as the gap between the learning outcomes and the achievement. How can technology help to achieve the learning outcome? So these are three ways. Proper planning of instructions, like what kind of tool are you going to use? Then constructive directed and constructive creative. So properly directed, proper secured channel selection proper, and finally there should be some scope for creation. Like for example, if someone is feeling bored in the classroom, you should not go ahead with the same kind of tool. Instead, find some other tool. And the most underutilized resource in our sphere of the stakeholders is the parents. Teachers are working exceedingly well. The trainers or teacher educators are working very well. The authorities are very much active. The students are eager to learn, but there is one resource that is underutilized, and now they have also realized that they were not prepared for such things. Many parents, when they meet, they talk about the Zoom. Until now, Zoom was only one function to zoom in and zoom out for them. But now they know what is Zoom Cloud Meeting. And they are sitting with their children to direct the learning. So parents are the most underutilized resources, and we should strive to bring them in the mainstream. After this situation, when we will go back and when the schools reopen, nobody can predict what will be the situation. So we have still a buffer time where we can prepare, get connected, get in touch with the parents and prepare them for the coming days. Now, understanding the teacher's perspective and how technology can help personalize instruction. So we have talked about this model, the online teaching model. Here it shouldn't be online. That should be the second gear. It should have blended, but it's written online. That's a typo from my side. So we have moved from face to face to blended to online, and there are different needs. And as we believe, everybody of us believe that every child is unique, we also should understand that not one tool will be applicable to all the children, all the students. See, I'm using Microsoft Teams for conducting online classes, but only 40 out of 50, or sometimes the number goes down to 30, some days 28. So they are not very much used to using these kind of tools. So give them some time, troubleshoot them, be a troubleshooter, troubleshoot the problems, and bring them on the upper level of use of technology by the scaffold, scaffold, one by one giving support like it's given in the construction industry. So we are moving, we are in a transitional phase. So our instruction should be, I would say, designed in such a manner that it caters to needs of everybody. Like somebody has a smartphone and very good data connection. He or she is able to use all the tools. But what about those who have only Geo phone, the feature phone, where only WhatsApp works and internet works only? No other smart apps work there. So you can send a link with your podcast and then they can listen and understand it. You can deliver your instructions using the podcast and send the link on SMS or WhatsApp for that matter. Now coming to the importance, I will take one example. This is a quote by David Crystal, the great old man of English language teaching, and he is patron of IETFL UK. He has written many books, including The Language Death, one of my favorite books. He says that technology does influence language quite dramatically. A lot of creative members here in the webinar annotating on the page. Okay. I have disabled the annotations, so you won't be able to write anything on my PowerPoint now presentation. Okay, so let's come to the point. Technology does influence language quite dramatically, and he has given examples of the social media and the technology tools that were there from the 15th century till the late 21st century. It's clear now. So he says when there was printing, there were again these prophets of doom who were telling that this is against the religion, and they were against this person, fellow, German fellow called Gutenberg, who invented the printing along with some other shareholders. and he had to leave cities, he had to change places for survival and continuing this printing job. And he faced the lawsuit in the court of justice for carrying all these experiments in a very secretive manner. So there are people who are against all these advancements, no doubt. And these people will be there for all the time. Like when telephones were introduced, a lot of people, they, in those times, they shouted that, oh, telephone is something that shouldn't be operated because there is sound transmitting from one place to other. There is some hazard. Then came the broadcasting, and at the middle of this 20th century, and people were like arguing that this is a Satan which has entered our drawing rooms, and this will kill the culture and the creativity and relationships. And all things changed when in 1991 the internet came. I remember when I was a student in high school, the computer, I went to see one computer institute, and it was like a very sacred place where this computer lab was made. It has the air condition going on, and the computers were like placed like very uh, things which are very valuable. Yeah, they were valuable, but not to touch them. It was forbidden to use it. And these were the 486 computers having big CPU in the bottom, and then the big monochrome these mounted over it, the display. But now computer is in every home. It has become personal. So in 1999, Google came, and the Windows and the Google and the Office, it was altogether a different scene. There were chat rooms where people were interacting with each other using the internet. They were communicating with each other. Then the SMS came, short messaging services, and it changed the language altogether. So from printing in the 15th century, we saw SMSs in at the beginning of 21st century or at the end of 20th century, and the texting became cool. The SMS lingo became very popular, so that uh, to that extent that we had the Hamlet soliloquy prescribed in 12th standard course book in a texting lingo, SMS lingo. So all this has made a lot of influence. Like when the Facebook came, there was a prompt when we go and post something. What's on your mind? So people started sharing their feelings. Then the YouTube came and the Twitter came, and the Twitter changed all these things very dramatically. Like only 140 characters for expressing. Like earlier prompt was, what are you doing? So people started sharing like, I'm caught up in a lift. So other people were very much curious about what's happening next. So then after some years, the Twitter changed its prompt from what are you doing to what is happening. Now the prompt is what is happening. So instead of sharing personal things, people started sharing about other things. So all these things happened. And now Twitter is a big source of news. Nobody knew that that global terrorist Osama bin Laden was sitting there in his home in Abbottabad. But somebody started tweeting that there are US choppers hovering over a mansion and there are gunshots. And within few seconds, it was a breaking news all over the world. Then came the WhatsApp. and WhatsApp is the biggest tool we have. And now we are experiencing the Zoom. Actually, Zoom was invented in 2011, and we have realized its real value after 10 years. So technology, this is one example of language. Similarly, some examples are there in science like simulation, 3D, augmented reality, virtual reality. AR devices are very much popular. So it's helping everywhere, not just in language. That was one example. So this is the digital toolkit that teachers should have to succeed in the profession. But this digital toolkit belongs to the last decade. I will share the new improved digital toolkit that I am using. So this was the general representation of what were there before 10 years, like Google Docs, Firefox, Chrome, Facebook, and Dropbox, SlideShare, Skype, Twitter, all these things. So we have related these things to the Bloom's taxonomy. We all know, moving from the lower order thinking skills to the higher order thinking skills, like remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, creating. We have different tools which can do different tasks: recalling, explaining using information, analyzing, drawing inferences, evaluating, assessing, and producing new work. So these are certain things which I do, and these are related to the Bloom's digital taxonomy. Like I do bookmarking. You know bookmarking? Whenever you go to a site and you just click the star button I had given there before the name of the website, it's called bookmarking. But if you go on saving these bookmarks, it becomes very difficult to manage it in different folders and from different devices. Now Google gives the permission to access these things, but there are some permission limitations to it. So there are some apps which bookmark your website, or you can save the complete article in that. You must be these all things must be ringing some bells when I say that bookmarking. Many of you will be must be using these apps somewhere. Copying, googling means searching, bullet pointing, highlighting, group networking, searching. These are certain activities which are at the lower order thinking skills. Then the understanding, like advanced searching, using Chrome, proper use of Chrome. Annotating like I was showing this PPT slide and somebody was writing something, maybe not writing, it was by mistake. So that's called annotation. You correct it or you mark something over it and then you share it. So there are devices which you can use to annotate. Tweeting, tagging other people, making use of hashtag for that purpose, commenting, subscribing so that you can get notifications, live notifications or only selected notifications. Then application of knowledge comes to calculating, charting, preparing charts, editing, presenting, uploading, networking. Then you use some tools to analyze like mind mapping, surveying, linking, validating. Then comes the stage of evaluation. Evaluation is very important part, but there is very less amount dedicated for online evaluation or quality online evaluation. Like grading, rating, testing, reflecting, posting, moderating can be done using these apps. Finally, if you become a creator, you gain the higher order thinking skills like animating, blogging is video blogging, filming, podcasting, publishing, programming, and directing. So let's see what are the tools. These were the tools which were used until last 10 years, but I have given my tools and I want to work with you in collaboration at the end of this workshop and we will keep on adding to these tools, these apps. Like remembering, for remembering, we have the Wakelet where we can save the bookmarks. We have Google Sites, Google Apps, Google. We have the YouTube where we can gain knowledge. We have the MS Office, like MS Word, OneNote, all other tools of MS Office. The Slack workspace. There are different workspaces now, like Yammer is a Yahoo workspace, like Slack is a different, altogether different workspace. Like we have Microsoft Teams, but it's quite advanced. So I have put it in the upper stage. Google Keep is a tool, is an app that you can note anything, and that can be synced with your email, with your web version, like the desktop version, laptop, or with your mobiles. So it's multi-use facility it is giving. Then there are TED Talks that are a great source of learning. Then we come to the second stage, understanding. So for that, or advanced searching, for that thing we have Chrome, and there is one function in Chrome called incognito window. If you use incognito window, none of your history will be traced by the hackers or the sites. So that's a very secured way. Actually, it is used by hackers only to search the dark web. Dark web is altogether a different thing, because we call it digital footprints. Wherever you go on internet, you leave your footprints, and these footprints are then tracked by the hackers, like your username, your password, your credit card details. All these are your digital footprints, and there are millions of people who are tracking your digital footprints so that they can gain benefit out of it. Microsoft Teams is a different ecosystem for learning. Twitter. Now, Twitter is a very good tool for online CPD, online professional development. Like you can follow your favorite authors or visionaries and you can get updates. Facebook is also a very open kind of source for getting all this knowledge. Now, when you apply all these things, you can use Zoom. You can use Microsoft Teams as well in a different manner. See, there are some apps which can be used in many stages for many purposes. Then Zoom, Microsoft Teams, use of WhatsApp, PowerPoint, yes, of course, for charting, all these things, making charts, flow charts, tree diagrams, information transfer. Then Handbrake, converting one thing, applying the knowledge, converting one thing to the other, converting the MP4 into 3GP, these kind of things. Then for analysis, we have Google Forms, we have Microsoft Forms, and the artificial intelligence has brought in new features to these forms. And now the forms can give you the summary of the data you are getting. It's now a data science, that the form will be able to give you the summary and prepare one report so that your time is saved. Drive is a very good collaboration tool. Mentimeter. I would like to tell you the use of Mentimeter you can do in your tag meetings as well. There are certain templates like multiple choice question, preference question, yes, no type of responses, or any reflective or open-ended questions as well. And like grading, linear scale, multiple scales, there are ready-made templates. Just go to the mentimeter.com, type your reflection question at the end of the meeting, and you are done. Choose any one template, like grading, for example, and you are done. It generates a code, and you share the code with your participants, and they just go to mentimeter.com and enter that code, and they are able to answer the question. And you will see the result in real time, and you can show all the participants the result on screen. That's a browser-based application. You don't need to download the application. Flipgrid. As we move on, these complexities of applications, it goes on. Flipgrid is a tool for video making and reflections, and people who are shy of making videos, they can collaborate with others to make the videos. Wikis. Wikis are things which, like, I have put something there online in the wiki space, and you come in and you put some other point there. So it's like a collaboration work for ideas and these things, elaborate, elicitation and sharing ideas. Then for evaluation, we have Padlet. Padlet is very popular tool. Those who are in the British Council training, they know how to use this Padlet. This is also Padlet tool can be used for reflection. Like you share the Padlet, your Padlet, and all people go there and they put on comments or share pictures, write whatever they want. So in this way, you can take feedback. Weebly is a website creation tool. It is a drag and drop kind of thing. Like you create the pictures or the PPTs, you can create your own website. That's free on Weebly. I too created my first website some years back using the Weebly tool. Then a very good app, Telegram. It's better than WhatsApp because it's open source. If I am a programmer or I know something of the coding, I can use it for the betterment using the Telegram. Then Edpuzzle is a tool which lets you to upload one video and ask some and put some chance at different parts of the video. And when you make it a lesson, that video is converted into a lesson and sent to the student. And when student logs in and he watches the video and solves all 1, 2, 3, 4 questions, you get all the responses that who has spent how much time using that link on that video, who has skipped the video part and answered the questions. So there are different kinds of learners, so you get personalized response. Seesaw is again very good tool for collaboration and evaluation and reflection, and you can involve parents in this Seesaw. Kahoot is a very famous, popular app. It's been popularized in the chess training as well as the Tejas training and Nista training as well. So not just you can create quizzes, but you can also create homework using the Kahoot app. Testmos is very good for multiple choice questions. Like we have activity sheets, we can create some part of these activity sheet on Testmos and send it on the SMS. And people can open the SMS, click the link, and they can solve these. Finally, coming to the creation, and we are nearing to the end of our workshop. Flipgrid is a very much popular tool. I have already mentioned about Flipgrid in the analysis part, but you can create very new things using Flipgrid. Animoto is a free video making app, and I love to make app on Animoto. Some of you must be seeing videos from Brute or some other video sharing site who share a small videos, bit size videos on WhatsApp, telling about some motivational things or having bigger subtitles. So all those videos are created in Animoto, and this is very popular, very old site, and I'm still using this. PowerPoint is handy for everything. Like you can now save your PowerPoint as a video. You can add voice to it. You can add your moving or talking video to it. You can convert it into PDF, or you can convert it into JPEG or PNG image, whatever. And you can create a lot of special effects using PowerPoint. And it's a different school to learn a PowerPoint. Tracy is like PowerPoint, but it's online. It's very simple. AVS and Camtasia are video creating and editing tools, production tools we call it. And you can add text and all other things in these videos using AVS and Camtasia. You can remove the original sound and you can add your voiceover. And we have tried this with our students as a school project. Finally, very professional kind of application called Maya. This is for special effects, and I tried learning Maya, but I gave it up because it was very professional kind of thing, and I didn't want to go in that much detail. So these are some apps. You might be knowing some of these. apps. Okay, like Drive, then Prophet, then Google Classroom, Nearpod, Evernote, Screencast-O-Matic, OneNote, Padlet, Seesaw. So number of apps. These are all new apps which are being used by the teachers and educators everywhere. But coming to the last point, a lot of people are still joining this workshop after 1 hour. That's an interesting thing. Discover the need for managing data, how to do it, and how to keep information secure. This is one comic piece which says, we were supposed to watch a presentation called Adjusting to New Technology, but they couldn't get the VCR to work. And this happens. And this has happened to me n number of times. Whenever we are at the beginning or in the middle of something very interesting, like during one such webinar, I had prepared one video, and when I went to share the video, there was no sound audible. So this happens. Technology hits you when you are all set, all prepared. So I always have a plan B when you are going to use technology. These are some security suggestions from my side that uh, you can read it on the screen, like keeping your username and password to yourself, responsible about what sites you visit, because see, a lot of people who are my friends, they visit some sites of their interest, and when they meet, they come telling me that they are getting these advertisements. Why I'm getting these advertisements everywhere? Because Google tracks your footprints, digital footprints, and Google AdSense is a very much advanced software that tracks your interest, likes, what things you are visiting, where you are spending your time online, and then it sends that information, that cookies, to the other site, which is going to pay them for the advertisements. So this is not a direct kind of thing, knocking on your doors or coming to your drawing room. This is like indirect way of entering the by others reference. Always keep the content, use the profanity filter in your apps, like when there are kids at your home, you can activate the profanity filter by clicking on the three dots on YouTube and activate that profanity filter, and not to share personal information anywhere. And when you are talking online, use proper language. Don't use so many capitals when you are talking or conversing in the emails or chats. And please be away with the people who are unknown to you on the digital platform. These are some of the resources. I will do one thing. I will share this with Kalpana ma'am, and then she can share with you all. That's all from my side. Kalpana ma'am, over to you. I finished my presentation.
Okay,
Yes, you can.
thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. So now we are taking some questions. If the participants have, then move to the last presentation. Yes, you can put your questions in the chat box, or you can ask your question by raise your hands. By raising your hands, please.
There is one question from Vinod Pogulwa, sir. He's asking, sir, can we use Weebly for PowerPoint presentation? Sir, Weebly is a website development portal where you can log in using your own Gmail ID, and you can create free websites. And there are templates also. You can just use the template and you can create your own website. Yeah, any questions?
What are cookies? From Tanaji Alivar.
Cookies. Yeah, that's very interesting name. Cookies are very small bits of files, even less than 1 KB sometimes, or 1 KB at least. We can't say less than 1 KB. So these bit-sized files, when you go to some website for the first time and you get one pop-up notification that this site uses cookies and you accept it. If you don't accept it, the site will work, no problem. But if you accept it, the site will send some files to your cache memory. Cache memory is a temporary memory. You know cache, C-A-C-H-E. People call it cache, but it's a cache memory. So these cookies are shared as a cache memory. And when you go and revisit that site again, these cookies send information to that website again. Okay, this person had visited the website, like for example, Teach English British Council website on 20th March, and now is the 13th May. And after 20th March, I am going to visit the site again. The cookies will send the information to the website host, and the website will load quickly. So in a way, it's a kind of tool that can help you in loading your site very quickly. And one thing, a lot of people, when they fill up any form, and when they go to the site again, the form site says that you have already filled in the form. So that's the role of cookie and cache. It comes in, but nobody can track your personal information using cookies, like bank details and all these things. So uh, don't get worried about cookies. It's for loading the site faster when you visit again.
One question from Manjusha. She's asking that now our students are not having Android phones, so how can we help?
I was expecting this question, but since the topic of our webinar is technology for teachers, so
Yes.
we are dealing here with only technology, but still you are talking about the no resource kind of thing. So there are certain limitations, and of course we can get in with these students on phone, or we can ask them to use the device which belongs to their neighbors or other family members, or manage for 1 hour. And even if it is not possible, we can have the conversation, or we can tell them that go to page number such and such, so and so, and prepare this. That can be done. The only thing is there shouldn't be a learning loss in these months, in this gap.
Okay, and one question from my side, Nadeem sir.
Yes.
Actually, I also learned a lot new applications. What you introduced on PPT, your presentation. My question is, means most of the teachers are not that much aware about these apps and that much aware about the how to use the apps. And what you introduce the apps, that all apps are very updated or new apps. So how can we help to the teachers to use how hands-on training? I'm talking about hands-on training. Is it possible for
Yes.
us? Because nowadays it's a need of the hour.
Yeah, ma'am. When let's begin with the Zoom. Okay. Now, many of us try to create tutorials for Zoom, but I think why to reinvent? Like when I was doing preparing material for the chess training, we created Zoom because there was a need to give it to the teachers in their own words. But for
Yes.
general kind of training, there are already training videos which are available on Zoom website. You just go to zoom.us and go to the training section. And for other apps, I would say you just follow their official YouTube channels. There are educators from these websites or companies or sources like Microsoft, for example, or Google. There are educators who keep uploading small videos, some tutorial videos or training videos. And speaking about Zoom and Flipgrid also, they have training sessions. So you can just go and register for their training session. And whenever there is a training session, they send you a mail. So only one thing you have to keep it in mind, that you have to be aware what's happening and when it is happening.
Yes. So, is there any app to motivate the teachers? Because nowadays it's a need. Because only 40 teachers joined, as they know that the technology now, the age, the era is they are on the way of this area. It is a need of this era, even though the teachers didn't join the session. That is why I'm thinking how to motivate teachers to use technology in day to day life. Otherwise,
See,
because
ma'am, I have a different perception over these phenomena called
yes,
very less attendance, because nowadays, even that day we did live and there were hardly 1,000 people concurrently watching, and last year we had more than 17,000 people watching concurrently. So what happens when you drink water from the bottle from a small resource? It's very easy to consume it. But when you are against a firefighter or what we call it, I'm not getting the word for. If you are getting too much of information, it's difficult to consume it. So
yes,
nowadays, these activities are going on everywhere. Like not just we as a group, there are many publication houses and institutes, universities, groups are holding these kinds of orientation. So it's everywhere. That's why it has become very difficult to keep track of all these things and participate.
okay. Last question from Changdev sir. Which
Hmm.
source is the best to getting detailed knowledge about technology?
Sir, I would say you just follow some people on Twitter. Go to Twitter and follow some people who keep sharing about technology. Like I follow some people. I would tell their names. Nick Pichi is a like he's the dad of technology. Then Gary Moteram from IITFL, and then British Council, and then there is Richard Ban, who is an educator in technology. And in India, we have people like Cherry Matthew Philippos, Radhika Golkar from British Council. So these are some people, and you can follow me as well, no problem. I also keep sharing things about technology. So Twitter is a good tool to keep track because whatever tweet you like, it gets saved as a bookmark. So it's a great tool for keeping in touch with the latest things.
Adonis sir wants to ask one question. Please
Yes,
unmute
sir.
him.
Raghavendra, sir. Yes, sir. Glad
Ah,
to see you.
uh, Same here, sir. Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
I had to do one online course, and when I applied for that course, I got the notification that your browser is not supporting. So they means gave me alternatives to choose browser like Google Drive or Twitter. So
Browser,
what is
sir.
the what is the solution for that? Huh?
Browsers are like Microsoft Edge, then Google Chrome, then Firefox, Opera. These are the browsers. So you don't have
And
to. Twitter is not a browser, sir.
Twitter.
That's a social media. That's not
No, I
a
got the
browser.
notification that you should choose one out of these three options: Google Drive or Twitter, or one more was there. Because I got the notification that my browser is not supporting to allow me to enter for that course.
Okay, okay. So you can do one thing, sir. You can share the screenshot with me on my mail ID. You already have my mail ID. So we can
Okay,
find the solution over there.
okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, there is one question from Sudarshan Naitam, sir, about podcast. So podcast is a in thing. It's there from quite a few time or couple of years. Like there were sites like SoundCloud and all these things. But there is a these sites they demand the money and subscription, and they ask to pay you in dollars. So instead of going with the SoundCloud, it's good for listening, no doubt. There is one website called Anchor.fm, ANCHOR.fm, and this site trains you in creating a podcast. Podcast is like a recorded audio clip, and you do podcast with your friend or your colleague, and you can Anchor.fm allows you to do a podcast and invite people who are not present with you. So even a people from UK can join you in your podcast, and you can record it together, and then you can edit it, and then you can send the link to all the people on SMS or whatever WhatsApp you have, and people will listen to it and they enjoy the listening using the headphones. A recent podcast was about teacher networks given by Amul Padwar sir, along with British Council on the SoundCloud. But you can definitely use anchor.fm, anchor.fm. It's a very good tool for free podcast.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Nadeem
Thank
sir.
you.
It's really great pleasure for us that you presented here for technology for teachers, and I am very confident. I was very confident when I thought that you have to present on this topic, and you gave us the real the value of this presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Might be, I hope that participants will enjoy the session, and thanks a lot, and waiting that looking forward to seeing you again in the next presentation, and hopefully you will join us again. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thanks a lot,
Hopefully.
sir, and thanks for
Thank you.
your help. Thanks for your
Thank you.
support. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye.